All the way back in 2009, there was a dispute behind the scenes in Kojima Productions over their newest game. After the massive success and even redemption of Snake Eater, Substance, Peace Walker, and the list goes on, they were working on another installment. And the guys creating this game halfway through looked around and asked, what the heck are we even doing? And then Kojima said, yeah, wait a second, what is all this mess? And then PlatinumGames creeped over and said, I'd love to get my hands on this game. Okay, maybe I should reframe that. Basically, Kojima Productions, quote, no longer knew what the core of the game should be. And then the company behind Bayonetta, Vanquish, and Transformers Devastation, PlatinumGames, politely presented themselves as the next best option. And the deal was closed in 2011. Platinum got straight to work on their newly acquired half-finished game, and this was the beginning of Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. And while from the very second of its release it had a passionate fan base, mostly coming from other similar games, the recent explosion in memes has also had an effect on the game. With a newly found surge of interest, a lot of people are left asking, what is this game? And that's exactly why I'm here. So stick with me as we dive into this hacking and slashing take on Metal Gear, because the questions remain and the answers await. What the heck is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance? Don't forget to subscribe. Back in the late 90s, there was one game that sparked a world-renowned, respected, and beloved video game franchise. Well, for the most part. I'm of course talking about Metal Gear Solid. It was unique in that time. You had Mario, happy as can be, jumping around. You had Final Fantasy doing fantasy stuff, and then you had Solid Snake sneaking his way around the dark and mysterious Shadow Moses, slowly uncovering the dangerous secrets this island holds. It was a different take on what video games could be, and even though the 1998 game wasn't the beginning of Metal Gear, it was what truly started the flame. And as the journey went on, we understandably had some bumps in the road, but in general, over the course of this journey, Metal Gear Solid solidified itself as a legend, and every time that a corporation strikes gold, they must keep digging, and digging they did. Soon enough, we had such a massive roster of video games that they outnumbered the stars. Sons of Liberty, Guns of the Patriots, Peace Walker, just to name a few. We had some good ones, and we had some bad ones, but in general, it didn't really matter what the heck they made. It was a Metal Gear game, someone would play it. Until 2013. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, Kojima's politely thrown to the side project, was released. Fans of the Metal Gear games were understandably disappointed. While pretty much all of the other Metal Gear games had a very focused emphasis on stealth and thinking, while Revengeance was oriented more to the just hack and slash that stuff to hard rock side of things. Now, while this might sound like a bad thing, it's not, technically. Revengeance was, well, finished by a completely different company with a completely different style and approach to video games. Now, I actually have a lot to say on this style, but I'll get there. Trust me. The Revengeance fan base quickly turned from your average Metal Gear fan to almost exclusively fans of the hack and slash style. And before you know it, Revengeance technically left the Metal Gear group and was joined with the hack and slash community, aka Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, God of War, and believe it or not, Goofy's Disney Funhouse on the original PlayStation. Crazy, I know. Now, that was a couple years ago. Things have changed. Our brothers over at the meme headquarters made an important decision. And before you know it, nobody can just have a simple conversation without
making the mother of all omelets here, Jack.
Oh my god, you have no idea how many times I've heard that. Mother of all omelets. Omelets? Mom? So in late 2021, the game officially became a meme. And fun fact, the first meme was actually posted to a Reddit thread. Whatever, I have no idea how Reddit works. And with these memes came an explosion in interest. Interest washed into MGRR and brought a lot of attention. And when a game is put in the spotlight in similar fashion, people start to play it. Is it really that bad? Is it that good? You get the point. And before you know it, it's not only the hack and slash fans playing this game, but everyone, for the most part. So, what is this game? You gotta be kidding me. Hello!
Hey, sucker.
Can I help you?
I hope you're making that Revengeance video, or there'll be no video this week.
Yeah, I was in the middle of it, actually.
Good, good. According to plan.
What the heck? Just subscribe.
Just subscribe.
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is a game based around several main storyline Metal Gear characters, but I believe it's best to think of this game as a spin-off. It's not part of the Metal Gear storyline, so no need to worry about stuff getting messed up, so to say. While the game revolves mainly around Raiden, it's a completely different style of game from the original Metal Gear. We've already talked about the differences, and with this change in gameplay comes a change in audience. People who play the original Metal Gear won't find this game as appealing when it's only got stealth aspects, but is centered on hack and slash. Now, why is the whole hack and slash thing such a big deal? Why is it such a no-no for the majority of gamers, more specifically the Metal Gear Solid fans in this situation? Hack and slash is very unique. It's compared a lot to anime and their style of things, but I have one major problem with this style. Feel free to disagree, but hear me out. While hack and slash and anime are very similar, there's one major advantage that anime has over its video game counterpart. But right before we jump into this difference, let's talk about the major similarities that bring these two together. Dialogue is definitely very similar between the two, but I'll be focusing on something else. Hack and slash games put a huge emphasis on the epicness of, well, I mean pretty much everything in the game. What would be a simple boss fight in most other games is a crazy, action-packed mess amplified to the 15th power, revolving around a bunch of crazy maniacs. The main focus of combat, especially boss fights, is to create the most insane thing you've ever seen. These super-powered characters that are just so many levels above you that it's just like two gods fighting or something like that. And while this isn't necessarily a bad thing, it definitely tarnishes the hack and slash games. But before I talk about why, let's turn our attention to anime really quickly. They too have a very similar styled combat. I will say that the protagonist gets beat up a little more, but, well, yeah. But anime has several seasons to establish these characters, to give them depth and meaning, to make you genuinely care about them. And Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, you lose that meaning. When you only have 8 hours to build a large cast of characters up to something that you actually care about, and on top of that put the crazy combat and stuff in, you just can't. So they sacrifice the meaning. Now, just in case you didn't get what I was saying, I'll let the retrospect play. Go! Simply put, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is a hack and slash, filled with crazy action and unique characters set in the world of Metal Gear. Games like these set themselves apart from the norm by, this is gonna sound mean, putting aside depth for the sake of action. Crazy, over-the-top, exaggerated combat. Anime is able to pull off the combat and stuff, but also, because they have like 20 stinking seasons, the One Piece, they can also focus on building characters into something with meaning and depth. Hack and slash just doesn't have all that time, so they do what they came here for, the crazy combat. Do you want to know a game that balances perfectly action, edge of your seat, all of it, and characters?
Yes.
That's my little brother, he's here to help me.
Yes.
My little tarnished brother.
Yes.
Look no further than Elden Ring. Elden Ring is the greatest video game ever. Say your stuff. Say something.
Elden Ring, the best thing you see.
Yes, alright, that's all. Elden Ring is the greatest game ever. Buy it right now, play it. I don't care how much money you got, where you're living, just play it. It's the best game ever. What are you doing? So, what do you think? Now, if it sounds like I'm being mean to the hack and slash, I'm not. I'm simply stating that in these games, the characters, for the most part, lack the depth and meaning that you would get in Mass Effect, so to say. And the reason behind this is simply because these different kinds and styles of games have different kinds of goals. Mass Effect will revolve around the first human Spectre, putting together his own team of flawed but meaningful characters to rise up against a massive hidden threat. Revengeance revolves around a cybernetically enhanced man who stands up against an organization run by, well, a bunch of crazy people. And memes, I guess. While the decision between Ashley and Kaidan is a hard one, because you know these characters, you know these people. They have hopes, they have dreams, they have flaws, accomplishments, relatabilities, all of it. Revengeance lacks in this because the main focus of the game is to show off the crazy fights with memorable moves and attacks, all to hard rock playing in the background. So what do you think of Season 2 so far? I've got so many more videos coming up super soon, and I'm just so super excited. So, big question, what's the temperature outside? I love you guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and remember, life is short, play great games. Games are a fundamental part of life. A world without them would be like an earth without air. And the really cool thing is, although they started all the way back in the late 50s, the path they've traveled, the journey, the history of video games is an epic one. It's come a long way, but where is it today? Where has that path led us, and where does it continue on? 2020